Hey guys. Hello, it's your friend. And I was walking just now and listening to a couple of people on YouTube. And I just had an idea to do a little series because I get a lot of questions about this. I think because I've had some videos before on old WW plans or old Weight Watcher plans. And I think a lot of us have been on old plans and we like to compare and contrast. But I got this idea. There is a YouTuber named Jill for Today, Jill for Today, and she did a video called Remembering the 1970s Weight Watchers program. And I thought it would be really fun to talk to you guys about a couple of the different programs because I have so many of the old program materials. And if you guys remember whenever Weight Watchers would switch programs, they would often have you get rid of your program materials. And I was one of those people that I was like, no, I love paper. So I kept everything. And I like to sort of compare and contrast. I think it's interesting to see how the program has changed. And I know I have a lot of friends out there that are doing some of the older programs. And I had a specific question today about the difference between momentum, which encompasses a whole bunch of programs, and points plus. So I thought tonight we would talk about momentum if you want to. And then I will talk about points plus because I also have all the points plus materials. Now, if you're wanting to do an old plan, one of the best ways to do an old plan is to check out some of the message boards. There is a message board called Three Fat Chicks on a Diet. It is an old Weight Watchers message board, and you can find a lot of information there about old plans. There's also a message board called healthdiscovery.net. They also have a lot of people that are still following the old plans. And of course, you guys all know, and I've talked about iTrackBites. So iTrackBites is an app where you can log on for free a lot of times. But if you upgrade, you can get some of the old plans. Momentum encompasses basically what started as 1, 2, 3 success, which is kind of when points were introduced. And we stopped having that old exchange program. That's when I started doing Weight Watchers back in the day. And I believe that was like early 2000s. So 1, 2, 3 success turned into, oh gosh, turnaround, which I think encompassed flex and core, which then turned into momentum. And I believe that's when we first had simply filling. So if you're looking for old food lists, you can go to Google and you can Google Weight Watchers core plan, and you will find the old food plans for core. You can do the same thing with simply filling, and they will give you the 0-point food lists. We always refer to the 0-point food list as 0-point foods. We never really said they were free until Weight Watchers gave us this whole idea of freestyle. I think they probably should have never thrown in the word free because it kind of messed with some of our heads. Okay, so Relentless Pursuit of Shade is saying, yes, 1, 2, 3 success. So let's talk a little bit about what used to happen when you would go to a meeting. Now, back when I joined, the meeting that I went to was in a community building that was attached to a church. And the scales were out in the open. I mean, they were kind of over in a corner, but they were out in the open. And they were the old-fashioned slider scales, weighted scales. And when you first went, you would have a little weigh-in booklet, which I don't think I have my little weigh-in booklet. It's in the other room. But they would give you a little paper booklet. They would either stamp your little weigh-in booklet, or they would write your weight in there. When you first signed up, you would give them, your gender, your weight, your height, and I believe we didn't give activity level back then. It was just one one set of calculations without activity. So when you first started, now this is from Flexpoints, which was part of the turnaround program. So what I have from then, which is kind of like Momentum Times, is their old little tracking book. And so we would get, individual trackers if you wanted them. I had a little journal that I would track my points in. And then you would get your introductory book. Okay. And so you would go in, you would fill out your information on a long contract that said that you didn't have any eating disorders, and that you weren't pregnant and all of that sort of thing. And then they basically would go through your calculations. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to hold this, and hopefully you guys, if you're wanting to look at this little graph, you can see the points. So at this point, you had a points target. So if you were less than 150 pounds, your points were 20 points a day. That was your points target. 150 to 174 was 22 points. 175 to 199 was 24 points. Notice this is not correlated with height. This is weight correlation. Did I say 200 to 224 is 26 points? 225 to 249 is 28 points. 250 to 274 is 30 points. 275 to 299 is 31 points. 300 to 324 is 32 points. And 325 to 349 is 33 points. And then your max points were 34. So 34, and that was over 350. So that was your point target. The other thing that they had was a really cool, it's like a checkbook. I still have these guys. My problems. They had a quick track system. And so basically you would write in sort of like a checkbook. Do you guys remember checkbooks? Do you use your checkbook? That's the question. So let me show you what that looks like so you can see. You would put in, your balance, and you would add or subtract over there. Okay. There was instructions on this side of how to use your quick track system, which I thought was really fun. Oh, is that upside down? I'm sorry. Okay, let's try it like that. So that tells you how it was supposed to look in there. And then they also gave you a little option of, let's see, just marking them off as you go. If you didn't want to have to write everything down, you would just come up with your target number, like I get 30 points a day. So I would just start at 30, and every time I ate a point, I would mark it off, and it would just make it really fast for me. If you go over to eBay, you could find these little trackers. I love these little trackers. I think they're fabulous. The other thing was your good health habits for the week. So let's talk about those. This was an old school Weight Watcher thing. So you have your water for the week. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It's a whole little check box for the entire week. There's your fruits and veggies, and there's your milk. Did I say milk? It says milk. It says milk, guys. And so they really wanted you to have at least 2 dairies or 2 milks a day, and then they have a little extra one over here. I think if you were a teenager or a nursing mom, they wanted you to have more. Okay, so back to this. So you would get your points tracker, and then you would get a whole little booklet of how to manage going on this plan. And one of the things that you always got was, you guys remember this? Weight Watcher magazine. You could subscribe for a special price to the magazine. And I always had a magazine subscription going. So that was really, really fun. They did not have you start off exercising this first week. They wanted you to work on tracking, which we still do, right? Tracking and getting used to what points were. So let's talk about how points were decided back then. Okay. So it says losing weights with the points food system is easy. You'll find little planning, few rules, no complicated counting, no weighing, and all foods are included. I think this is so funny. So how does it work? Foods are assigned a points value. You guys know this, right? There's a points target to spend each day based on your current weight. So they didn't do it based on your height, guys. Now, I know that when you were looking at goal weight, they did look at your weight and height, based on your height and I think your gender. But for your points, everybody got the same ones. Isn't that crazy? In addition, you have 35 flex points per week to spend or not, however you choose. There are eight health habits. So they had 8 health habits on page 14 to 23. So what were the 8 health habits? This is very interesting to me because I'm like, do we talk about this? I haven't talked about health habits at a meeting or whatever we call it in a million years. Okay, health habits. I'm not seeing them, people. I'm not seeing your health habits. Okay, portion control is the first one. That's a health habit. Portion control is number 1. Number 2, fruits and vegetables. That's your other health habit. Isn't this kind of fun? I love this kind of stuff. Number 3, milk. Milk is your health habit, everybody. So forget if you're lactose intolerant, too bad, no. But they do have soy milk in here. They also have cappuccino, a cereal bar that's calcium fortified, that counts. Cheese, dairy shake, hot cocoa. They actually give you a whole list of what counts as milk. So that's pretty fun. That's number 3. Number 4, got grains. So number 4 is grains. They wanted you to have make grains the foundation of a healthy diet. All righty. So nutrient dense, whole grains, rich in vitamins and fiber, and make sure you check your ingredient labels. And then number 5 is protein. Isn't that funny? Don't you feel like now on Weight Watchers, our focus, even today in the meeting, our focus was on protein, getting enough protein. I don't even know how many times my leader said that or whatever he's called said that. So that's number 5 is protein. Number 6, fats, added sugar, and alcohol. Go light for good health. So they want you to watch your fats, your added sugars, and your alcohols. Okay, number 7 is a multivitamin. We've really gotten away from that. I don't think that's in the tracker right now. Is it, you guys? Let me know because I'm not looking at my tracker. And then number 8, oh, you guys, look. Water everywhere. Water everywhere was number 8. So make it 6 glasses a day at least is what they're saying. They don't tell you what a glass is. So you got your healthy habits. You've got your tracker. You've got your target for the day. And then you have your weeklies. And I remember really people stressing that you needed to eat your weeklies because as your weight decreases, your metabolism slows down. So even though you lose weight less quickly, you don't want to lose it too fast because number 1, you wouldn't keep it off. I'm trying to remember what they used to tell me. Number 1, you wouldn't keep it off. And then also you would need really low points to keep it off if you didn't eat all your weeklies. Is that making any sense? That's how it is in my head. You guys tell me what you think. Janice says that she loves her milk and it's her daily health habit. I love it. Okay, so you got your points target. Now, how did we figure points back then? If you know the answer to this. So if you're looking at doing this plan, your focus is going to be on calories, fat, and not saturated fat, just fat, total fat, and fiber. Okay. Remember, nowadays we're looking at saturated fat. We're looking at carbohydrates. We're looking at protein. We're looking at all these other different indicators. Back then, it was calories, fat, and fiber. 3 things. So when you picked up a label and you saw that something was 150 calories, you really could calculate in your head, oh, that's probably going to be 3 points, unless it has a lot of fat or unless it has a lot of fiber. If it had a lot of fat, it would probably be 4 points. If it had a lot of fiber, it would probably be 2 points. See how that works? So it was really easy in the grocery store. I mean, we didn't have apps on our phone and we didn't have all this, fancy dancy stuff. What we did have, and you guys know this, and maybe you remember doing this in the aisles of the grocery store. I certainly do. You had your slider. And like I said, you can find these things, you guys, on eBay. So here's your slider. So with your slider, they finally capped the fiber at 4 during turnaround. Now, prior to that, on 1-2-3 Success, there was no cap on fiber. And so if you had something that was really, really high fiber, you could count like 0 points for it, even though it had calories and fat in it. It was crazy. We were all eating Baker's breakfast cookies back then. If you remember the Baker's breakfast cookie, drop me a comment because you're my girl or guy, and you remember that they had tons of fiber, all these calories, and we were counting like 1 or 2 points for these breakfast cookies. So 4 was your fiber cap, okay? So you would first find the fiber in your food, then you would find the calories and you would slide it down to whatever your calories were, okay, over here. Then you would look over here and find your fat content, and this would tell you your points. And then you would write it down in your little tracker. So let's say you're saying, Amy, I really want to go back. I want to use the old system. I don't want to use iTrackBites. I want to use paper. Go over to eBay and find yourself a slider. You don't even really need a paper tracker like this. You really just need a slider. And then these little books, this is called Week 1 Getting Started. In the back has a lot of points already laid out for you. I mean, this is all the stuff that you normally would find and eat, a lot of fruits and veggies and meats and that sort of thing. Tells you the points between this and a slider and a little notebook. You really, I mean, you can do Weight Watchers on a budget. Did this plan work? Absolutely yes. 100% yes. I saw tons of people be successful on this program. I lost 70 pounds on this program. When they went to Points Plus, I got very disillusioned. That's a whole other long ramble. Absolutely, absolutely. People lost weight, did really, really well on this. This was a very, very structured plan. And so you weighed and measured things. The only thing that was 0 were your non-carby vegetables. You counted fruit. You had your milks, so you counted them. So, I enjoyed this plan a lot. Once you got to week 3, they started to introduce activity. Okay. So I guess I'm not sure what the rationale was. Probably they were working on some healthy habits. And then also, you have that nice little water weight loss the first couple weeks. And then week 3, things kind of slow down a little bit and it's time to get yourself up and going, right? Spanish Whisper says she lost 50 pounds on this old program. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to tell you all before we get to exercise. This is the question that I get all the time. On iTrackBites, let me get up my iTrackBites app because I've paid for iTrackBites. I love iTrackBites. I love the community over there. I think it's it's got calorie counting. So on iTrackBites, I've got to remember where all this stuff is though because I haven't looked at it in a while. Under your settings, under your profile, the weight loss plan that is this old momentum, that is calories, fat, and fiber, is called Conquer Cravings. That's what this plan is called. This is the old, 2009, around that time frame, okay, that it's called Conquer Cravings. So week 3, you would get your activity booklet and they would sort of get you into walking and they would talk about earning points for activity. And at that point, haha, no pun intended, you could add points to your tracker. Let's see. Here's your flex points for the week. So that's your 35. So you could mark those off as you went. And then I believe there's a place in here to do activity, but I don't know where. Oh, you just add them. You just add them into your little checkbook. Alrighty. And the way that you did that, let me see if I have this. I believe I do. I do. You had your point booster. Okay. So your point booster was given to you week 3. And this is how you calculated how many points you would get for activity. So, for example, tonight I went and I walked for 35 minutes. So my intensity level was moderate. And they would talk to you about what low, moderate, and high intensity was. Nowadays we don't have a lot of those conversations, I feel like. I feel like in the meeting room, we're not talking about that. I don't know why. But so I was at moderate intensity, we'll say 35 minutes, and then you slide over to your body weight. Okay, so we'll do that somehow right here. Oh, there we go. And I earned 3 points for walking. And then I can add that into my little tracker and I can eat it or leave it. Eat it or leave it. It's up to me what I want to do with it. So kind of old school and fun ways to do that. You guys have any questions? I know there's a lot of people that have looked into going back to some of these. Oh, Ellen, that's funny. I had a blue book and they wrote in my weight and later on they switched to a stamp. That's funny. Yeah, it's like the old weigh-in books. They would write in there, and then they had a stamp that they would stamp, and then they had stickers. And you could also buy packets of, I think it was like 13-week coupons. And for 13 weeks, you would give them a coupon every week because you would prepay. I think it was like $7 or $8 a week to go. You would prepay for 13 weeks and get a little discount. And they always would have a couple of free weigh-ins in there, which means you go in and you don't have to weigh those weeks. They wanted to give you the option of not weighing. So, and then every week you would get little booklets that would tell you, work out the abdomen. I need to work out the abdomen. What does this say? Oh, it's a whole, abdomen bracing. I haven't looked at this stuff in a while, you guys. Half sit-ups. Look, they gave you a little exercise guide. Isn't that cool? I love this sort of, I don't know, I'm a dork. Meal ideas and recipes. So you got that week 6. So maybe by week 6, you were like, I need help. I need ideas. And they would give you little ideas and then they would give you the points. They weren't smart points. They were just points, guys. I guess they were dumb points back then. They were immature points. They were points of our youth. They were young points. I don't know what you would call them, but they would give you little ideas in here, which I really, really liked. And then live well, live long, little booklet. And you can find a lot of these. These are all from the Flexpoints, by the way. These are a great read. I haven't looked at these in a couple of years, but I have some other ones from Momentum Days, and they're just a great read. There's a whole thing on why you should eat carbs, and that one just, is a great read. So this one's on sound nutrition, trusting your instincts, on fat. Your body needs fat to carry out basic function. So, and then they talk about the different types of fat. I feel like they did a lot of education back then. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. The arms, there's a little, I need this one. I'm going to go do this one tonight. Look at this. I love it. This just makes me so happy. Oh, here it is. Look. Yes, the truth about carbs. The truth about carbs. I think that this is when Atkins was kind of the big thing. Do you guys remember Oprah talking about Atkins? I remember her program. Was it the Oprah show? What was her show called? Oprah. I remember her having Dr. Atkins on and talking about every day she would have a snack of like some olives and cheese. For some reason that sticks with me. And that was like my first introduction to the idea of like low carb and that sort of thing. So I guess at that point they came out with this, the truth about carbs. And you've made the right choice by joining Weight Watchers. They didn't want you to go do Atkins. They want you to, keep your butt in the chair in the meeting. With a long history of providing science-based weight loss programs that are safe, healthy, and effective, you can count on Weight Watchers to tell you the truth about carbs. You guys, okay. The bottom line on carbs. Losing weight is all about calories. Eating fewer carbs or proteins or fats lowers total calorie intake and leads to weight loss. While losing weight is good for your health, how you lose weight is just as important. Extreme diets that cut out all sorts of carbs don't provide lasting weight loss. I'm reading this verbatim. Okay, now this is from a while ago, guys. Okay, this is from, let's see if I can find the date on this, 2003. This is 2003. Okay, so I don't know, there's new evidence. In healthcare, we say anything older than 5 years old in terms of science and evidence is outdated. So, I think they probably still stand behind a lot of this information. So Tanya says her mom wanted her to do the Atkins diet, and she was constantly pushing it. She did do Relentless Pursuit of Shade. She did. She had a blip with Atkins, and then she went on to David Green. Was that his name? Her trainer, where she started running. And I think she was just eating, healthy again, just eating normal things. But she did do a stint on Atkins, where I don't know how long it lasted. It'd be very interesting to see that video. I just remember being like, I've never even heard of that. Just eating meat and cheese and butter. I've never, I remember my little, 20-something-year-old brain going, why would you do that? I love bread. You can imagine 20-year-old Amy. This look on my face. So I just wanted to show you all that. If you're thinking about, looking into this plan, like I said, this is back from Momentum Days. This is Flexpoints. So you can see that down there, Flexpoints. If you go look this up on eBay, you can find all kinds of old program materials. There's a restaurant guide. I mean, it's all kind of outdated. So if you really want a tracker and an app that will give you all of this, it's going to be iTrack Bites. Okay. So if you're wanting to do the old plan, iTrack Bites is a great way to go. But if you want to pick these up just so that you kind of fill that out and see what the plan was based on, it's very interesting. And I think it's a fun way to do calorie counting. So really, this is just sort of like a step up from basic calorie counting. I know on iTrack Bites, you can do momentum, and you can also set a second, what do they call it? You can look at calories. So you can either look at your macros or your calories, like a second little tracker, which is kind of a cool thing to do, I think, on all the plans, to see your points and then see your calories down there. Just kind of interesting. It keeps you accountable. You're like, am I fudging stuff or what's going on? Let me know if this was helpful. If it was, next week I will do Points Plus. And then I can do Smart Points for you guys if you want to hear about Smart Points. I know I've already talked about Freestyle and Purple. We've all talked about Purple, and there's lots of people doing Purple. But if you want to hear more about old plans, I have a lot of my old materials. I been there, done that. Been there, done that, and bought I bought into it, and it's fun. And I like talking about it. Obviously, I don't know. It's like a hobby or something. Southern Cupanista enjoyed it. Go check out that person. She talks about the old Weight Watchers, and her video was fun. When she talks about that old plan, you're like, thank God for points. Thank you, Lord. She talks about eating liver, and I've talked about that on my channel before too. You could only have 4 eggs a week. I mean, it's really, really fun. So again, go check her out. I'm going to go watch some of her other old videos. Her name is Jill for Today. And it looks like Jill has 16,000 subscribers. Let me show you her little picture. She's cute. Jill for Today. Let me turn my brightness down. Go check her out. I don't know her or anything. I just, when you go walking and you find somebody that is just cool and you're like, oh, this is really fun to listen to. And the name of this video was, I lost it. Something about Weight Watchers. Old Weight Watchers. Wait, I'm going to give it to you. Hold on. Give me a moment because I lost it again. You guys are like, Amy, what's wrong with you today? I scrubbed my whole house down. I went walking, remembering the 1970s Weight Watchers program. That is the name of her video, Jill for Today. Go check her out. She's a lot of fun, and that was a fun reminisce. I remember going with my mom to her meetings back then, and it was extremely complicated. And I remember my mom always eating like little cans of tuna and one piece of bread, and it was, I'm very thankful for the Weight Watchers of today. That's for sure. All right, guys. Oh, Richard Simmons. Oh my gosh. That's a whole other. Yeah, we've talked about that before over here. Stay in orbit. Let me know if you like this type of video. I'll see you guys later. I've got to go finish up a couple things for tomorrow. I've got 2 loads of laundry to fold, and then church tomorrow, and the rest of life. So take care out there. Take care. Bye.